You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Reece, pressure. For the people who just think, hey, you know what, I voted, I'm good. No. It's not going to happen without that pressure.
Yeah, right. I need people to set aside the 2024 presidential primaries. First of all, there's a possibility that President Joe Biden might run again. I know he's old, but he might decide to run again. So set aside that. Set aside the political posturing to try to undercut, VP Kamala Harris, and focus on where the work lies, which is in the Senate, which is with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. It's time for him to step the hell up. It's time for him to feel the pressure. I don't see that he feels like he's under any pressure. I haven't seen it. You don't even hear his name mentioned. If it was Speaker Pelosi who had trouble wrangling AOC and Connor Lamb, it would be nonstop coverage of it. But we see Chuck Schumer and Majority Whip Dick Durbin getting a total pass. We see Senator Manchin getting a total pass. What has to be impressed upon them, and I hate that we even have to make this argument, because why do we have to continue to justify our humanity to these people? But we have to press upon them that the humanity and the full citizenship of Black people and brown people in this country goes above and beyond this Jim Crow relic. And they have this allegiance to so-called procedures and so-called standards that keep their foot on our necks. And so that's unacceptable. So I don't have the answer, Sway. I really don't. I wish I did. But this is not a matter of tradition. This is not a matter of, we have to keep the filibuster in case the Republicans get in. They're gonna do whatever the hell they want to do. That's what they did to get all these 200 plus judges plus 3 Supreme Court justices. They're gonna do whatever it takes. It's time for the Democrats, specifically the Senate Democrats, to step up. And everybody who cares about this activity, about these acts passing, they need to be pressuring the Senate folks, okay? The Senate folks. That's where the ball is in their court. The House is done. This is now a Senate issue. Put all guns blazing there. I'm not saying have it a firing squad, but you have to ride their asses, period.
This is a video that Congresswoman Karen Bass posted on her Twitter page. Go to my iPad, please. And then, of course, it reminds folks of what took place with George Floyd last year. Also, right there, 100 unarmed people brutalized and killed by police since George Floyd was murdered. Since. That speaks volumes that goes beyond George Floyd, that you have to address this issue among these out-of-control cops, Kelly.
The fact that we are still in this predicament day in, day out, decade after decade, it just shows you just how stagnant, how slow, and frankly, how comfortable we are as a nation with this happening. Certainly not Black people, but as a nation, we are comfortable with Black bodies dying, certainly because the systemic racism that lives within. But thankfully, with this bill, one of the main things that is a part of it is a national registry for these crimes committed by police officers to actually be documented and logged in, similar to how you have a national DNA database for criminals. There would be a nationwide database for crimes that cops do. And if you are a cop who kills unnecessarily, you should be treated like the criminal that you are. So this is a great step in that direction. Now, to Reece's point and your point, Roland, regarding applying pressure, specifically in the Senate, it is not, the irony is not lost on me that once again, Democrats are relying on a Black woman to get things done. We are no longer in a position for that to happen because we now have 2 senators, being Manchin and Sinema, who will thwart her efforts so to speak, regardless of whether Democrats are united. So when it comes to applying the pressure, it's holding people accountable. It's making sure that we don't wait until 2024 to think that things are going to change. It means not even waiting until next year, 2022, trying to make things change. We need to act now. We need to make those phone calls to our senators now. We need to hold not just Kamala Harris accountable, not just Biden accountable, but your specific senators, your local government, your House representatives as well, because they are the ones who pass it in order to get to the Senate. So these are the civics lessons that should be ingrained in everybody, but clearly they are not. So absolutely, I agree with everybody on the panel here in regards to applying the pressure. But the irony that we are relying on Black women, a Black woman specifically, one being the vice president once again, and then for Democrat as a whole not to have her back, because we still have two like going rogue. That is beyond insulting to anybody. Specifically this Black woman here, and I'm sure Reece can agree. I see her nodding.
Greg, again, when we talk about pressure, I keep telling folks, show me what Black folks have gotten in this country without pressure. And again, and for the people who keep running their mouths like, well, no, the George Floyd Justice Act, that's not specifically helping Black people. The voting bill not specifically helping Black people. Well, guess what? Okay, while y'all sitting here waiting on that, the rest of us are busy trying to make things better for Black folks.
Yeah, brother. I mean, let's be very clear. There'll be a lot of people who get checks with the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill that no Republican, no member of the White Nationalist Party voted for and will vote for. That's a fifth of that bill. 22% of that bill is direct payments. That means Black people, your money will spend too. You'll get that money. What this is exposing, again, reminding us of, unfortunately, is the truth of the political immaturity of the American electorate. This is years of being dumbed down through, silly-minded media, and of course, social media has only weaponized it. I'm glad you wore that shirt today, brother, because right now, while we're here in Haiti, the Haitians are like, this president got to go. February 7th was your last day, bruh. You got to go. The Constitution says that, and the Supreme Court and the courts in Haiti have ruled on that. In some countries, they just won't stand for it. Here in the United States, however, a dumbed down country, we don't even have the momentum of memory. And today, for example, I was talking with my students, and I teach this hip hop class, and we were reviewing what happened in the late 80s, early 90s around these insurrections, and many of them had never seen the murder of Latasha Harlins out there, or that white judge that let that Korean lady go for doing it. Many of them hadn't seen the Rodney King footage, and so we talked about that, and that's not the fault of these young people. That's the fault of those of us with so-called platforms who don't continue to remind folk that there's nothing in the George Floyd bill that is new. In a minute, when we talk about this Black Lives Matter money, all the money going to HBCUs, all this money that's going out, this money is washed in the blood of Breonna Taylor. It's washed in the blood of Ahmaud Arbery. And we've seen this show before. In other words, this country is a criminal enterprise that was set up on dispossessing people of their land, and it's basically a business enterprise. And to keep that going, there will be politicians put in place to continue that momentum. Now, the problem the Democrats have, finally, is that those who back them in terms of lobbying, and I know we're going to talk about HR1, and that's very important to think about this question of limiting donations and things like that. The people who must vote for the Democrats look more like us. The white nationalists have completely doubled down. And so I think we have to now, rather than, in addition to putting pressure on the Democrats, I got a question for that bucktooth Ben Sass in Nebraska. I got a question. I got a question for those white nationalists who think they're going to win a national election. We have to now show political maturity to not only get on the Democrats and say what's going on, but we need to elevate and scream to high bloody heaven. You white nationalists over there who are getting a complete pass because nobody expects you to do anything different, we're going to put your faces up next to these toothless, ain't getting no vaccine, homeless, lights out in Texas, white people who you have deceived, and we're going to posterize y'all because y'all getting a whole pass to stand up and saying, no, we're acting like it's only 50 people in the United States damn Senate. No, every member of the White Nationalist Party must now be crucified on the altar of common humanity. They are enemies of humanity. The reason they had to have a late session last night is because their friends threatened to come back down here and repeat what they did on January 6th today. You're white nationalists, you're enemies of humanity, and you must be destroyed politically. You don't get a pass because you're not behaving as human beings.
But then when I say put pressure, what I'm talking about is, remember, we are still constituents. And that is black folks in Nebraska. That's right. Put that pressure on SAS. Black folks in Utah, and ain't many of y'all, put that pressure on Mitt Romney. Black folks in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, that's right. Come and put that pressure on Senator Ron Johnson. That is the only way these things are actually going to happen. It doesn't matter what the issue is. It doesn't matter if we're talking HR1, George Floyd Justice Act, if we're talking about Democrats planning to increase the child tax credit to $3,000 per school-age child. It does not matter. It's about pressure. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.